Okay, there was no countdown that time, so it caught me by surprise. Hello, my name is Cody C. Angdahl. I am the author that you know, author of 6 novels, now all available on Amazon. Soon to be the author of, well, I am, but I haven't released it yet, but of uh, the novella, which is called The Underground Railroad Ball. That is coming out soon. We're gonna have some news on that when we finish up. But first, let's do the review. That's my cat, by the way. So I just got done reading. Well, no, yeah, I did. I got done reading just the other night the second book in the Fletcher series. It's called Fletcher's Glorious 1st of June, which is in reference to a famous naval battle fought between the United Kingdom and France in the First War, or um, the War of the First Coalition, which is a pre-Napoleon, although Napoleon's around, but it's before he's in control of France. So it's revolutionary France, that first war between Britain and revolutionary France and all the part of the coalition. So we'll get into that. Um, and now I am well. We'll get to what I'm reading now. So let's just get into it. I'll stop wasting your time. I've been gone for a week. Thank you for sticking around. I went to see my father with Laura. We had a great time. Took a week off from doing the reviews, or actually not the reviews, but doing a live stream. I try to do one once a week. So now we're back. So without any further ado, let's talk about. Let's see if I can there we go. Fletcher's Glorious 1st of June. So this is a this is from a series of books by John Drake, and I bought. He sold the first 7 in a box set for 99 cents. I could barely pass that up, especially because I'm going to be writing my own kind of maritime adventure coming soon after I put out my novella. And so I wanted to read more books, just kind of get a feel of the genre, the subgenre of the um, high seas, Asia sail, that the maritime genre, maritime action adventure. I don't know if that's actually how it's called, the genre, but you know what I'm talking about. The Patrick O'Brien stuff, the what's the other guy? C.S. Forrester kind of stuff. Um, and I was really surprised when first of all, I have this thing about buying box sets, especially like for 99 cents, which sounds crazy that, well, that's a great deal. But in some ways, I feel like, well, now I feel like I'm obligated to read the whole thing. And I also feel like sometimes when you buy something so cheap that it can't possibly be good, which I don't know if that's just me, or if that's everybody feels that way. And if everybody feels that way, I don't know if that's a good marketing ploy. But anyway, I bought this box set, 7 novels. I had it in my queue. I read the first one, and was stunned how good it was. And now I don't want to read all 7 in a row because I would just get bored with it. So what I'm doing is I'm staggering it. So I read one of the novels, then read something else, then read the next one, then something else. And what's even worse is I started another box set. I'll tell you what that is towards the end of this. But uh, all that to say, I got around to reading book 2, which is the title so long, Fletcher's Glorious 1st of June. And once again, we had a real winner. I liked it a lot. I think John Drake is a great writer. These, especially if you're into like the Jack Aubrey stuff from Patrick O'Brien, or the Horatio Hornblower stuff from C.S. Forrester. This is right along those lines. So let's just get into it. Here is my review. Now, when I review a book, I post it on Goodreads, and I also post it on Amazon, but I also post it in my own blog, and then I use my blog to share it. And I usually try to tag the author somewhere if I have any connection to that person on social media. John Drake, I've only been able to find him on Twitter, but I don't think I know he's active because I think book 8 is coming out, and I read that he's planning on getting book 9 and 10 out, or at least book 9 out too in the next year or so. So I tagged him there. The reason why I do that, and I was a little shy about that, because I don't want to uh you know bug them or anything. I think part of me felt like, oh, I don't know, I don't want them to think I'm like being a fanboy or bugging them. But at the same time, if somebody wrote a review about one of my books and shared it, I would like to know, because I would like to share it. And some of the authors do. They turn around and share um, the review that I wrote about their book. So um, anyway, I don't think he's been active on Twitter for a while. So let's just get into it. And I've said that too many times. Here we go. So book review of Fletcher's Glorious 1st of June by John Drake. And please forgive me, I'm having trouble speaking. I'm recovering from tongue cancer, and my tongue is swollen, so sometimes it's hard for me to enunciate things very well. So a head spinning. Oh, the one thing I wanted to say is that this written review, if you go down into the description, there's a link there, and you can click on that and you can read the review yourself. A head spinning whirlwind of an adventure. Book 2 of Fletcher's series has a lot going on. It picks up where book 1 left off. Jacob Fletcher has left the Royal Navy, and instead of claiming the enormous wealth left to him by his father, he never knew, he's determined to make it on his own. He buys into a merchant ship and sails off as second mate to make his fortune in the West Indies. But things never go as planned. Fletcher's adventures will cause him to battle the Americans, his fellow Brits, and ultimately fight the French at the Fourth Battle of Ushant, which I think I'm saying that right, better known as the Glorious 1st of June, for which the book is named, and of which Drake gives a riveting account for those of us who like a good bit of real history in our historical fiction. But the foes Fletcher faces, well, that's hard to say with this speech impediment, at sea are nothing compared to the enemies waiting for him in England. His stepmother, Lady Sarah Quainwood, and her maniacal son Victor were knocked down at the end of book 1, but they are far from out. Together, along with her new henchman lover, they plot to clear their names, seize Fletcher's inheritance, and send him to the gallows. Like the first book, Fletcher's Glorious 1st of June has 2 storylines: Fletcher's Adventures at Sea, which is narrated by Fletcher in first person, and his stepmother's story in third. The author claims, fictitiously, I believe, that he had won Fletcher's memoirs in an auction along with enough historical documents to flesh out his stepmother's story. This switch in narrative voice and story swings back and forth, chapter by chapter, even into the third act, where the 2 storylines combine for a spectacular showdown of a climax. I have to say, the darkest hour of the soul part was truly dreadful. I really had no clue how Fletcher would get out of it. However, the resolution was heroic and imaginative. I really enjoyed Drake's writing. The first person narrative of the old salty sea dog Fletcher is delicious. Drake's this depiction of historical events and even the mundane in and outs of naval and maritime culture of the time are easily understandable for a landlubber like me. I feel like I learn a lot from these novels, as well as enjoy a great high sea adventure. I'm excited about reading the next one in the series. And then, like I always do, it says, check it out here. So one of the reasons why I use WordPress to do these reviews is that I can embed a preview. So you can, why am I, okay, there we go. So you can preview the book here. And then at the end of that, there's a preview for my book. And what's one of the sneaky things that I'm doing when I share this out on all the social media, and I put it in some of the Facebook groups as well that are into these novels, is that uh, and 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 tag the author, because if the author shares it, they're also sharing a preview of my own book at the bottom of the page. So that's part of the whole marketing scheme. So there's a lot going on there. I'm getting better by reading other people's works, seeing what I like and what I don't like, what I think are positives, what I think are mistakes, and then also reviewing them. And I feel like this is kind of building up a footprint for me as I market myself more and more. Uh, the Fletcher books are, like I said, they're fabulous. I typically, one of my pet peeves is going back and forth between first and third person narratives. And just so you understand what I'm saying, first person is when the narrative is like, I walked onto the ship. The sailors were all looking at me. I challenged the first man to a fight by punching him in the face, as opposed to saying Fletcher walked onto the ship. He looked at all the sailors around him. He challenged the first one he saw by punching him in the face. Um, I feel like it's kind of gimmicky. I will tell you this: even though there are plenty of books that are written in first person that I really like, it's not my favorite. I prefer third person narratives. I prefer to read them. I prefer to write them, mostly because I feel like in a first person narrative, you're kind of trapped behind this one perspective. And there's also part of it for me, and I know this is kind of silly, but I feel like if it's a first person narrative, especially like in an action adventure or a military novel, that first person narrative, well, by virtue of it being first person, then I know the person survives the ordeal to write about it later. So it's, and I know I get that. Like even in third person narratives, especially in a series, well, the character is going to live, but it kind of ruins that illusion for me. But having said that, there are first person narratives that I have enjoyed, and maybe one day I'll write one. I don't have any plans to right now, but I feel like it's kind of a gimmick. I feel like it's kind of cheating when you go back and forth between, like, you got to pick one or the other. You can't do both. Now, that's just my pet peeve. There are some authors who do it, some authors who are very successful. I've seen do it. I don't know how successful those books are for them. Drake does it in at least these first two books of the series. But he has the way he does it, it makes sense to me. So in the beginning of both books, he claims that he has found the memoirs of Fletcher, Jacob Fletcher, and that these novels are basically him just publishing those memoirs. But to fill in the story that is not in the memoirs, he is using other sources to fill in the things that that Fletcher doesn't know at the time of narrating the stories. You see what I'm saying? So what you're getting is Fletcher's story at sea, and then at the same time you're getting the story of Sarah Collingwood, who's in England plotting against them that Fletcher cannot know of until later on. So I feel like because he kind of set this system up and made this his own fictional narrative, and that he has gotten his hands on this material and is presenting it this way, I give him a lot more leeway with this. I guess it makes sense to me. Um, anyway, they're fine books. I recommend them. Especially if you like Patrick O'Brien, C.S. Forrester. When I write my nautical adventure, it is going to take place probably about 30 to 40 years after this period in the early stages of Steam. So it's not quite the same era, but I still feel like I'm getting a lot of understanding of like some of the terminology. And the one thing I really do like about John Drake is that, first of all, when I read this, I feel like he thoroughly understands how the ships work, how the Navy works, how to operate a boat, even how the naval battles work. And what's great about it is that he understands it, but is able to explain it to you in a way like I don't know how naval battle work. I mean, I'm an army guy. Um, he explains it in a way that's easy to understand. I think for the reader, it's very accessible. So, good on him for that. I have seven, or I'm say I have five more of these novels to read, and that's just what I have. Who knows? I might buy novel number 8 once I get through with this. We'll see. So what am I reading right now? Another box set that I have found. So this is okay. I want to remove that. Uh, so I'm reading Serena Dory's. What's it called? Tardy Bells and Witches Spells, and it is a YA novel. It is part of a box set, books 1 through 5 of Wambi's School for Wayward Witches. And I don't know how I came to know who Serena is. I think maybe she started following me on Instagram and I followed her back. And that's not because I'm anybody. I think it's because a lot of times authors are looking, not just authors, just influencers are looking to build their following on Instagram. So they follow you, hoping that you follow them back. And then I don't know if they stay following you. I don't know if Serena's still following me or not. But I like the artwork that she had for this series. And it's a YA. I mean, it's basically, so it seems from the description, a knockoff of the Harry Potter series. But in America, it's girls, it's the female protagonist, and it's a school for witches instead of wizards. And I like the artwork because it just had this kind of cartoonish, kind of cute and sexy, clunky style to it. And it just appealed to me. And anyway, I follow her on several social media. And one day, books 1 through 5 were 99 cents. And I thought from a long time, I was like, I'd like to read one of these. It's not for me. It's not what I write. It's not what I read. But I think it's important as an author not to just read within your genre, but also read in other genres and see what works over there, what you can borrow. And so I bought this. She had books 1 through 5 for 99 cents. So I was like, I gotta do it. So I bought that box set and I started reading book 1. I think I finished the Fletcher book. I feel like I can't remember what night it was, but it was. I have a lot of middle of the night reading sessions where I wake up in the middle of the night and I can't sleep, so I need to read to settle my mind down. And I finished the Fletcher book and then started this one. And I will say, okay, I know what it is. It was the day I had my PET scan. Is that right? Yeah, it must have been Tuesday night. It was Tuesday into Wednesday night. That's right. Because I've already read like 5 or 6 chapters because I've been burning it up. I'm really enjoying this book. It's a first person narrative. It's YA, which is interesting because first of all, don't let that name fool you. Just because it's YA doesn't mean it's only for kids. It doesn't mean it's unsophisticated. It doesn't mean it's not good. In fact, some of the best writing today is by our YA authors, and probably the majority of the people reading YA are adults. So don't let that name, that title, fool you. It just means that it's appropriate for this. It's going to appeal, and it's going to be appropriate for. I don't know why. I don't know. I'll have to look this up, but like pre-teens to teens, kind of. I mean, the Harry Potter crowd. It is interesting because in the book, the family goes to a fair in Oregon, and she describes like there's a woman walking around topless with her breast painted in glittery paint. And there's a scene where there are people smoking weed at the festival. So it's YA, and those, I mean, you're not seeing nudity, but nudity somewhat described, and drug use. So I don't know where the line is of what's appropriate and what's not. But I will say this: it's a fun book. We haven't gone to the Wombi School of Wishes yet. It's a little bit of a mystery, and I like magic when it's subtle under the surface, where it's not apparent. I'm sure it'll be apparent at some point. So far, we haven't gotten to it. The setup is it's a young girl. Well, there's a there's a prelude in which she is having a mental breakdown, and she's saying, I know magic isn't real. I know it's just a figment of my imagination. It can't be real. I can't believe it's real, because if I believe it's real, then I'm responsible for the death of my sister. And you're like, whoa. And then it starts telling the story about how she grows up obsessed with like the fantasy world, and she's read Harry Potter. I mean, the character in the book has read Harry Potter, has read Tolkien, has read The Lion in the Wardrobe, and all that kind of stuff, and wants so bad to live in this world. But she lives in Oregon, and there's like an episode when she's like in third grade, and it builds up this relationship with her and her sister. And then the family, when she's 14 years old and her sister is 16, they go to a fair, and something happens at the fair that, once again, borderline, like, is it magic? Is it not? We don't know. There might be something interesting about mom. We're not sure. And then she starts high school, and there's a lot of that coming of age, teenage angst in there. So, and the school, the Wombi school, has been mentioned in the narrative, but it hasn't been called the School for Wayward Wishes yet. It's just a private school that is. I won't. I won't go too far into it. I think there's problems with the older sister, between the two sisters, that they might send the older sister to the school. She doesn't want to go. Um, but the whole box set is named after this school. So I'm thinking that this main character is going to end up going. Not sure where it's going. All I know is that I'm intrigued. I really like it. It's not for me. I'm a middle-aged man, and it's for young girls, and yet great writing. Love it. I can't wait to read. I'm going to read all 5 of them eventually. I don't know if I'll read past that, but at least I'll get that far. And I'll tell you this: I read the first Harry Potter back when I was living in Japan in the early 2000s, because I wanted to see what the big deal was. And I didn't. I like it. Was okay. Like, it was entertaining. I did not feel like reading the next one. I didn't care enough to. I saw the first movie because I read the book. It was okay. I didn't feel like watching the rest of them. Had I read Harry Potter when I was 12, I probably would be a huge fan, like I am of Star Wars. And I've heard someone say that Harry Potter is to the millennials what Star Wars is to us Gen Xers, which I think that makes sense. And maybe I'm in a different place right now, but Serena Dory's School for Wayward Wishes, I'm really enjoying, and I like it better than when I read Harry Potter. So go figure. All right, so there's that. And that is going by pretty quickly. I don't know if I'll have it done for next week's live. We'll do something next week. I'm going to try to get back on schedule, doing once a week. Okay, so me. Real quick, the cancer update. I had a PET scan yesterday. I'm still struggling trying to be able to eat. I'm still having trouble speaking sometimes with my swelling tongue. We'll see how it goes. That's my girlfriend. How are you? I'll get back to her on that. And so that's the I had a PET scan. We'll find out. Basically, the PET scan, if you didn't know, I had tongue cancer. I had radiation and chemotherapy for like 7 weeks. And so the PET scan was to see if they got it or not, to see if there's any traces of cancer. Now, they won't be able to declare me cancer free until I'm 5 years past it. And because it can come back anytime. But they can see if I'm no signs of cancer, which is what we're hoping for. So I don't have to go, do more chemotherapy. And I've already lost 50 pounds. I mean, which was great, but I don't need to lose any more or go through any more damage that the chemo and the radiation has done to me. So we'll find out probably next week what the score is on that. If we knocked out the tumor, or if we have to do more, I'll let you know when I find out in one of these live streams. Okay, so my writing. So I went to see my father. Laura and I went to Florida. We spent a week down there, and I told myself it was hard for me because I set daily goals and things like that, like word count, and not just writing, but practicing my fiddle every day. Uh, Working out all sorts of little things that, or not little things, but things that I do day to day to stay focused, to keep myself accountable. And and so one of the things I had to do is like, okay, I I'm not gonna be able to keep up my word count. I can try. I can write when I want to, but I'm not gonna make it a requirement. So I got a very little bit of writing done while I was there. And but that said, I had a first good month of writing the novella. And just so you know, I'm writing a novella. It's called The Underground Railroad Ball. It is a prequel to Rampage on the River. It is going to be given away as a lead loss, or what's the other? A leader loss or a reader magnet. It's going to be free and exclusive to my email subscription list. So if you want to get a copy of this for free, even if you're watching this 10 years from now, I'm going to set it up so that anytime if you're already on my list, you're going to get a copy of it. Or if you join my list, you're going to get a copy of it. So once you join my list, or you're already on it and it's done, you'll get it. You'll get it. My goal was it to be anywhere between 20 to 40,000 words. To put that in perspective, my shortest novel is 56,000 words. My longest is 126,000 words. And yeah, so I got my first month of writing done with it. I was around a little over 10,000 words on it. Got back home. I had the whole thing outlined. And since I've been home, I've been starting with Monday, got back into my daily writing routine. I'm somewhere between 15 and 16,000 words based off of my outline, because I have the whole thing outlined now. I don't have a thorough outline when I start. I have a very loose outline. It might even be starts with this, ends with this happens in the middle. As I write, I'm fleshing out the outline more. So the closer I get to the end, the more detailed that outline is. So in the end, I'm just plugging away the outline, and because it evolves as I write, but the more it evolves, the more it gets focused. I always think that it's very important to have, I'm somewhere, people talk about the pantser to the plotter. Pantsers just start writing, no plan, and just we'll see where it takes them. Plotters plot everything. I feel like they're more on a continuum. I'm more on the plotter side, but I start off with a loose outline that comes more and more into focus as I get further into the book. So that being said, I've been able to estimate, because what I do is I have a list of all the scenes I have to write. Now all the scenes I know that are going to be in the book are listed. And for me, a scene averages around 500 words. So looking at my list of what I need to write and timesing that by 500 and adding that to what I've already written, it looks like the book or the novella is going to be somewhere around 20,000 words, which is right on point or right on target. I didn't want it to be too long. If it was going to be 40,000, that might actually have been too long. Really 20 to 30,000 would be perfect. And the thing I think is interesting too is that this is my first novella I've ever written, but not really, because what is a novella? It's like a short novel, but it's also more like a singular story that, like I think subject wise as well. It's a more of a focused singular story as opposed to a novel that might have multiple parts that are moving together. And So that being said, and when I look at my novels, other than two of them, other than Rampage on the River and The Prussian Prince, my novels are broken up into parts, and each part is basically a novella. Each part has a beginning, middle, climax, and end. And together, like my last book, The French Fiasco, is in 5 parts, and each of those parts is like a novella. And the shortest one is about 12,000 words, and the longest one is about 26,000 words. Together, there are 100 and about 109,000 words that novel. So I've already been in the practice of writing novellas. It's just that I have put them together to make novels. So this is a single novella. It tells a very singular story. Um, to give you an idea, it's about Chester E. Newman, who is who is Carl's captain in the Second Michigan. He is a sheriff's deputy at the beginning of Rampage on the River. So we're backing up the story a couple days, and he is a sheriff's deputy about to become a captain in the Second Michigan Cavalry, and he is dealing. Let's just say he's dealing with a well, Detroit is famous at this time for being a terminus of the Underground Railroad. And the Underground Railroad was basically a network of people who helped uh, enslaved people escape their plantations, migrate up north, and get across to freedom in Canada. And at one point, I think in the 1850s, there was what's called the Fugitive Slave Act, because the Southern plantation owners were getting upset about the runaways going up into the northern states and having freedom. So there was a Fugitive Slave Act which compelled free states to help slave catchers apprehend runaways and return them back to their plantations in the South. So, and this was enforced even in the beginning of the American Civil War, especially if they were runaways that were from states that had not rebelled. So in this story, it's about slaves that have run away from a plantation in Kentucky, which, if you didn't know, Kentucky stayed in the Union throughout the duration of the war. And so a state like Michigan was compelled to return slaves that had run away from places like Kentucky or Missouri or Maryland, uh, um, even during the beginning of the war, before the emancipation, and even actually after the emancipation, because I think the initial emancipation was only for states that were in rebellion. So anyway, uh, the story is about a moral and legal dilemma he has in that he is a lawman who works in Detroit, who has to deal with runaways at the beginning of the American Civil War, while he is vying to recruit enough men to get his captaincy in the Second Michigan. So I really am enjoying this story. I think I feel like I'm doing some of the best writing I've done yet. It's a little different kind of story for me because it's, most of all my stories, if it had like a military war element to it, and the war is there and the military is there too, but this is more of a crime police kind of thing. It's a little different, but it does have kind of a marquee battle, because every book has like a marquee battle, which is either like the climax of the story, or like in my last one and in this one too, it's the climax of the second act, and then there's a third act. And so I think that's how this is going to work too. So if you liked my Civil War novels and like the characters, there's going to be some cameos in it. It's going to be a lot of fun. So anyway, all that to say, I'm at 15,000 words now. The way I have it plotted out and the way I write, it looks like it's going to be around 20,000 words, which means that I will probably have the rough draft finished in about 3 weeks, which is amazing. Because the shortest ever wrote a book from from starting to publishing was 9 months. So the longest I've ever done was 18 months. This will have it written in 2 months. I try to give myself 2 months after that to edit and then publish, but it might take me faster because it's a shorter book. So with this timetable, it looks like I could be done writing by mid-July. And then if I did 2 months from there, it means that it would be out in September. And then usually after a book comes out, I give myself a month to deal with the marketing and all that with that book. And then I start the next one. So if no promises, but if I stay on this timetable, it looks like I might be able to have this novella out in September, and that I could be writing Black James, which is going to be a big epic novel starting in November. So that's very exciting for me. I hope it's exciting for you. Like I said, if you want to read this and you want it for free, all you have to do is join my email list, or if you're already on it, you're going to get it. If you say a couple things, you're like, well, I've never read an ebook. I only read paper books. Okay, a couple things. One is you don't have to own a Kindle. I have an app on my phone and on the computer that I can read. I do have a Kindle. I prefer the Kindle over the phone, but it was getting to be too much of a hassle going back and forth between them. And the one thing I like about the phone is that it's always with me. So when I go to the doctor's, I can read, or if I'm stuck in traffic, or if I'm standing in line at the grocery store, I can read. The other thing is at night, this background turns black and the letters turn white. So I can read it while Laura is sleeping next to me. Or if I can't sleep and I'm by myself, a lot of times I can't sleep because my mind is racing because of all my anxiety and all the mental problems I have, right? So if you turn on the light, it wakes you up, right? Even though reading helps calm my mind down. So if I by putting this on, my eyes stay adjusted to the dark, and I'm able to read a couple chapters and go right back to bed. Okay, here's Lloyd Elmore Jr., one of my favorite authors. Let me put on my glasses so I can read. I'm really looking forward to Black James. Thank you. I am too. It is going to be. I'm planning a very epic book, so this one will probably be over 100,000 words. I am going to give myself up to 2 years. It probably won't take me that long, but I don't want to feel too pressured with it. It's going to be a big, epic, generational story. It's going to start in the 1700s in Africa, and it's going to go. I don't know if you've read Mexico, My Love, but it's going to go up to the point and maybe beyond where you meet him in Mexico, My Love. It's going to be character driven. Every book has a plot, but it also has a theme. And the theme about this one is holding on to that inner child in you. And Black James, he's a big, scary pirate, but he's got a boy's heart because he grew up loving, and he's after the golden age of piracy. So he comes afterwards, right? He grew up reading about pirates, wanting to be a pirate, and then becomes a pirate and becomes quite a formidable one. So that will be a lot of fun. It's one of the reasons, if you missed my review, it's one of the reasons why I'm reading the Fletcher books, because even though the technology and the era is a little different from when Black James is going to take place, there's still enough of overlap of maritime culture that, and of course, there's going to be some proper research, but just reading novels that are about nautical adventures, it's going to help me get the language and the feel and the tropes under my fingers. But Black James is, I've done a lot of outlining already, so I have a pretty good story. I have a lot of the beats already figured out, and like I said earlier, when I start writing a novel, I have a loose outline because I allow the story to evolve as I'm writing, and a lot of times I surprise myself. There's a lot of things that are in my novels that I had not planned for in the beginning that came up as I was writing, and the story evolved. Um, I have a lot of Black James already plotted out, so that is going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. What I was saying, Lloyd, about, because I know that you don't read ebooks, um, and I'm not going to be publishing a print version of the Underground Railroad Ball because I want it to be exclusive to my free and exclusive to my email list. And the only way I can do that is offering as an ebook. However, I am using a service called BookFunnel, and BookFunnel is a way in which you can distribute, first of all, free, reader magnets or leader losses to your readers. It's also a way if you ever wanted to. I'm not going to do this anytime soon. I'm thoroughly committed to Amazon, but there are some authors out there who sell their own books directly, and BookFunnel is a way of hosting your own, a way of selling ebooks, so that if you wanted to go into business for yourself and say, instead of paying Amazon, pay me, and then you get the download from BookFunnel. I signed up for BookFunnel. There is a cost behind it. It's not a whole lot. I did the glossary, so I'm giving away an Anglian glossary. The only reason why I did that is I wanted to test the system out first before I was ready to release the Underground Railroad Ball. So all that to say that when you go to download your ebook, or if you're an author and you're using BookFunnel in your reader downloads, it'll take you to a page and it'll say, how would you like this book? You can get a Kindle version, an ebook version, a Nook version, which I think is the Barnes and Noble app. There's multiple formats. One of the formats you can do is a PDF file. Now, what's great about a PDF file is that if you're like, I'm sorry, I'm just never going to read anything that isn't in print, you can print the PDF file, and there you have it. You can have the book in your hand. You just have to print it out on PDF, or you can read it like I read books, just like that. So that is the update for now. I will have Sarah. So I'm sorry, I keep calling her. I worked with a woman named Sarah Dorsey, and so I keep replacing that name for Serena Dory, who is the author of Tardy Bells and Witches Spells, which is book one of the Wombi School of Wayward Witches, which is I'm reading. It's the book is 264 pages. I don't know what that means in word count, but I do know that I'm burning through it. So I will probably have a review for that. If not next week, the following week, but we will have something to talk about every week. I got a couple things in my back pocket for the weeks I don't have something that I don't have a book review. And I'm not only doing book reviews, it's just I'm reading books quite quickly now. So I have a lot to talk about. Anyway, I love you guys. Keep reading, keep writing. If there's an author out there that you like for example, Lloyd Elmore Jr., if you're reading their books, please give them as many stars as you will, as you're able to give up on Facebook. I'm sorry, on Amazon or Goodreads, 5, hopefully. And then the second thing you can do is write a little review. I got a review. Let me pull this up real quick. Let me see if I can do this real quick without boring you. I know I say goodbye for like 20 minutes. I drive my girlfriend crazy because I'm like, oh yeah, and then one more thing. I'm like Columbo. One more thing before I leave. I got a review, and the reason why I want to show this to you, well, one, it's social proof. That's the reason why I share when people leave reviews for me, is to show you that, hey, look, other people are reading my books and they like it. Maybe you might like it too. So I got a review from a lady. Actually know her. I did not know she was reading my book. I didn't even ask her to. I didn't even ask her to write a review, but she did a 5-star review, and it's quick and to the point. Let me see if I can find. Here it is. Okay, so I'm going to go back to this. I'm sorry, I'm navigating StreamYards as I'm talking to you. So I think I can do let's see, share screen. Okay, stop screen, and then oh, share screen. Uh-oh, wait a minute. I pressed no, never mind. And then share. Okay, and let's just now it popped up on my end. Let me make sure it's popped up on your end. Okay, here I am, and is there it is. Okay, so I shared this the other day. So this is an example of like you don't have to write a review as extensive as mine, right? So here's one 5-star review. Great and interesting, period, or full stop if you're British. Super author, period. That's it. That's well, technically, I guess that's 5 words because that's the amber salt is an and. 5-word review, perfect. But what it does, it creates social proof. So when people are deciding whether to read the French Fiasco, now it's sitting at 4.5 stars average out of 8. 8 people rated it. It's at 4.5, and I got 1 review. And hopefully one day it'll have over 100 reviews and thousands of ratings and all that. It really helps out a lot. I heard one of the people I follow, an author, John Delarose, says you get a review for every like 2%, at least in his genre, 2% of readers. At least that's how he figured with his books. So it takes a lot of readers to get those reviews and get those stars. So if you can help your authors out, give them stars. That's number one. That's most. If you do anything, do that. But if you can, a couple words, tell people why you liked it, and we will love you for it. I love you. I will see you next week. Don't worry about me. I'm only slightly dying from cancer.